Welcome back, brave souls. You survived part 1, but Oregon still hides darker secrets in its forests, theaters, and forgotten halls. Tonight, we'll step deeper into the shadows, uncovering 15 more haunted places where history refuses to rest, and the spirits of the past linger closer than you think. Keep your lights on. You're going to need them. One, Multnomah Falls. High in the Columbia River Gorge of Oregon, Multnomah Falls has stood as a breathtaking natural landmark for centuries, dropping a staggering 620 feet. It is the tallest waterfall in the state. Long before highways and bridges, the falls were a sacred place to the Multnomah people. The legend that surrounds it dates back generations during a devastating illness. The chief's daughter climbed to the edge of the cliff and sacrificed herself to the roaring waters below. Her spirit, it is said, would protect her people from further suffering. In 1914, the Benson Bridge was built to give visitors a closer view of the cascading waters. But many who cross it report feeling a sudden chill, as if someone unseen is standing just behind them. Over the years, countless witnesses have sworn they've seen the outline of a young woman cloaked in white mist, drifting in the spray of the falls. Some hikers claim her face appears in the shifting veil of water during winter storms, her eyes locked on theirs before dissolving back into the rushing cascade. Even park rangers have spoken of unexplained cold spots and the echo of weeping that vanishes as soon as you listen too closely. So next time you walk across that narrow bridge, listen carefully, for the falls may carry more than just water. They may be whispering the cries of a sacrifice that never truly ended. 2. Battery Russell, Fort Stevens. Built in 1904 as part of Fort Stevens near Astoria, Battery Russell was designed to guard the mouth of the Columbia River from naval attacks. During World War II, it became one of the few places in the continental United States to come under enemy fire when a Japanese submarine shelled the fort in 1942. Though the attack caused little damage, it marked the site with a dark chapter of wartime fear. Today, the old concrete bunkers and long-forgotten corridors lie abandoned, crumbling slowly under moss and sea air. Visitors often report eerie encounters within its damp halls. Soldiers in phantom uniforms are seen patrolling the grounds, their boots echoing against the hollow chambers. One figure in particular, a spectral soldier clutching a flashlight or knife, has been spotted countless times by both tourists and park staff. Even in broad daylight, witnesses claim to feel watched, their footsteps followed by invisible ones. At night, the silence breaks with metallic clatters and hushed voices, though no living soul is near. Cold drafts sweep through sealed rooms, and sudden flashes of light appear in places where no electricity runs. Step too deep into Battery Russell, and you may find yourself walking beside the restless spirits of men who never left their post. And beyond these haunted walls, Oregon has even darker secrets waiting to be told. 3. Tillamook Head Trail, Ecola State Park. Stretching along Oregon's rugged coastline, the Tillamook Head Trail has carried footsteps for centuries. First traveled by native peoples, it later became part of the Lewis and Clark expedition's journey in the early 1800s, when members sought a beached whale for food. During World War II, the U.S. military built bunkers and a radar station here, remnants of which still loom among the mossy trees and salt-drenched cliffs. Time has since abandoned them, leaving only broken walls and the haunting crash of waves below. But hikers say This trail holds more than history. It holds spirits. The most chilling stories come from those who wander near the old bunkers on fog-heavy nights. Figures in military uniforms have been seen standing guard, only to vanish when approached. Some claim to hear the sound of distant gunfire or the sharp bark of orders carried on the wind. Others tell of a phantom lantern glowing deep in the forest, luring the curious toward the edge of the cliffs before suddenly extinguishing, leaving them in darkness. And then there is Terrible Tilly, the Tillamook Rock Lighthouse, seen from the headland. Known for countless shipwrecks, it casts a ghostly presence over the sea. Many say the cries of drowned sailors echo through the mist when the tide rises. Walk this trail long enough, and you may realize you're not hiking alone. And if you dare continue, Oregon's next haunted place waits to be revealed. For Scaponia Park, Vernonia. Hidden deep in the forests of Columbia County lies Scaponia Park, a quiet campground with a dark legend. In the 1800s, this land was once the site of rough frontier justice. A horse thief was caught, dragged beneath the old trees, and lynched without trial. His body, along with that of his loyal dog, was buried in the soil where families now pitch their tents. What was meant as punishment has instead become a haunting that lingers to this day. Campers report strange sounds echoing after midnight, the snapping of branches, the shuffle of unseen boots circling their tents. Dogs often whine or bark at empty spaces, their hackles rising as if warning of something no one else can see. More terrifying still are the tales of a shadowy figure swinging from a rope among the branches, vanishing as soon as light touches it. Some locals claim they've heard the growl of a ghostly dog prowling near the burial site, its eyes glowing faintly in the dark. Even in daylight, visitors describe an oppressive stillness, as though the forest itself holds its breath. Fires sputter and die without reason, and the uneasy feeling of being watched presses down on anyone who dares stay too long. Scaponia Park may look like a place of rest, but at night, it reminds all who enter that some crimes never sleep. And beyond these woods, Oregon hides yet another haunted shadow. 5. Vernonia Lake City Park, Vernonia. In the early 1900s, Vernonia thrived as a logging town, and the lake that now rests at the heart of Vernonia Lake City Park was once a mill pond, holding the timber that fueled the town's economy. By mid-century, the sawmills fell silent, and the area was transformed into a public park where families came to fish, picnic, and walk the trails. But not all the voices of the past were silenced when the logging ended. Visitors often report an unsettling presence along the water's edge, where mist clings to the lake even on clear nights. Locals whisper about phantom footsteps, crunching on gravel paths when no one is near, and fishermen have claimed to hear faint cries echoing across the water, sometimes sounding like children, other times like weary men from a bygone era. The most chilling accounts come from campers who awake in the dead of night to see a shadowy figure pacing near the shoreline, only to watch it fade into the fog. Paranormal groups investigating the site have recorded unexplained cold spots, disembodied voices, and sudden drops in equipment power phenomena they cannot explain. What should be a peaceful lakeside retreat carries a weight of sorrow and mystery. In Vernonia, Lake City Park, the ghosts of Oregon's logging past may still linger, waiting for someone to listen. So, Malheur Butte, Eastern Oregon, rising from the flatlands near Ontario, Oregon. Malheur Butte is an ancient volcanic formation, once used as a lookout point by native peoples. Over time, it became shrouded in darker legends. In the 19th century, whispers spread that witches gathered here under the cover of night, performing rituals upon the hill's windswept summit. Travelers spoke of strange fires glowing on the butte, and locals avoided the place after sunset, fearing what they might encounter. Even today, hikers claim the butte holds an unsettling energy. Those who venture up its trails alone describe the feeling of being stalked, soft footsteps crunching just behind them, though no one is there. Phantom figures, cloaked in shadow, have been seen darting between the rocks, watching from the ridgeline before disappearing into thin air. Most chilling are the reports of small, glowing eyes at ground level, believed to be ghostly dogs said to guard the hill. Electronics fail, flashlights dim, and an unnatural silence often falls across the summit, broken only by a sudden gust of cold wind. Some believe the butte is cursed, forever marked by the rituals once performed upon it. Stand atop Malheur Butte long enough, and you may sense the weight of countless unseen eyes staring back. And as Oregon's haunted trail winds onward, the next place grows darker still. 7. Heceta Head Lighthouse and Inn, Florence, perched high on the cliffs above the Oregon coast. The Heceta Head Lighthouse first shone its beacon in 1894, guiding sailors through one of the most treacherous stretches of the Pacific. Alongside it, the lightkeeper's house, now a historic inn, has stood for more than a century, sheltering families who dedicated their lives to the sea. But with its long history comes a ghostly legend that refuses to fade. Guests and workers alike tell of a spirit known as Rue, believed to be the ghost of a mother who once lived in the keeper's house. Some say she lost a child tragically near the cliffs, and her sorrow chained her soul to the inn. For decades, visitors have reported unexplained happenings, windows opening on their own, locked doors rattling violently, and sudden cold drafts sweeping through cozy rooms. On stormy nights, guests awaken to see a pale woman standing silently at the foot of their bed, her face blurred like sea mist. Even modern innkeepers speak of alarms triggered without cause and glowing orbs caught on camera. Maintenance workers have refused to enter certain rooms alone, swearing they feel watched every second inside. By day, the lighthouse is a postcard of Oregon's beauty. By night, it becomes something far different, a beacon not just for ships, but for the restless dead. And beyond its cliffs, Oregon's haunted path stretches onward to yet another chilling tale. 8. Eugene Pioneer Cemetery, Eugene, established in 870. The Eugene Pioneer Cemetery lies beside the University of Oregon, its moss-covered gravestones marking the resting place of more than 5,000 souls. Among them are pioneers, Civil War veterans, and early townsfolk whose lives helped shape the city. But with so much history pressed into the earth, it's no wonder whispers of hauntings have endured for generations. The most famous apparition here is the Lady in White. Students walking home late at night have claimed to see her drifting between the headstones, her long gown glowing faintly beneath the moonlight. Some say she pauses to stare at them before fading into the shadows of the trees. Others tell of hearing bagpipes echoing across the cemetery. Though no musician can ever be found, a haunting reminder of the soldiers buried beneath the soil. Paranormal investigators have reported cold spots, flickering lights, and strange mists that appear only in photographs, even by day. Visitors describe the uneasy feeling of being watched, as if unseen eyes linger just beyond the marble crosses and weathered angels. The Eugene Pioneer Cemetery is more than a place of memory. It is a place where the past refuses to stay buried. And if you have the courage to keep listening, Oregon's next haunted place will draw you deeper into the darkness. 9. Eugene Masonic Cemetery, Eugene, founded in 1859. The Eugene Masonic Cemetery is one of the city's oldest burial grounds, a historic resting place for pioneers, politicians, and community leaders. Its ornate mausoleums and ivy-draped headstones carry the weight of more than a century of stories. Though lovingly preserved today, the cemetery has long been whispered about as a place where the veil between the living and the dead grows dangerously thin. Visitors describe phantom lights, flickering among the graves, moving as if carried by unseen hands. Others report sudden temperature drops, accompanied by whispers that vanish when you turn your head. At night, security patrols have heard footsteps crunching along the gravel paths, only to find the grounds empty. One chilling legend speaks of shadows that dart between the monuments, following intruders until they flee. Most unsettling of all are the sounds of soft weeping, echoing from the mausoleum, even when it stands locked and silent. Paranormal researchers who have braved the grounds after dusk claim to have captured disembodied voices, low murmurs calling names, as if the dead are trying to speak. By day, the Eugene Masonic Cemetery is a place of solemn history. But once darkness falls, it becomes something else entirely, a gathering ground for spirits who will not rest. And with each haunted step, Oregon's next ghostly tale looms even closer. 10. Holcomb Creek Trestle, Helvetia, standing since 1905. The Holcomb Creek Trestle is the longest wooden railroad bridge still in use in the United States, stretching more than 100 feet across a quiet valley near Helvetia, Oregon. It was built for the Oregon Electric Railway as a vital passage over the rugged landscape. Its towering beams and shadowed understructure have inspired fascination and fear for generations. Locals say the trestle carries an unsettling atmosphere, especially at night. Travelers describe hearing unexplained footsteps along the tracks when no train is near, or the sound of wood creaking as if something heavy moved across the beams. Others claim to see shadowy figures standing briefly along the bridge, vanishing the moment a light is cast their way. Beneath the trestle, hikers often report sudden cold spots, or the eerie sensation that they are being watched from the dark timber supports. Some paranormal investigators have even recorded faint voices and unusual sounds in the area, murmurs that seem to echo from nowhere, whether explained by acoustics, imagination, or something stranger. The trestle's reputation continues to grow by day. Holcomb Creek Trestle is a proud relic of Oregon's rail history, but by night, it transforms into a place where the living cannot quite shake the feeling that they are not alone. And Oregon's haunted path stretches ever onward into stories even more chilling. 11. Waldo Hall, Oregon State University, Corvallis, built in 1907. Waldo Hall was named after Clara H. Waldo, a trailblazer who became the first woman on the university's Board of Regents. For decades, the building served as a women's dormitory, housing generations of students. Today, its offices and classrooms still bustle with activity, but the fourth floor tells a different story. Sealed off from the public, it is the heart of Waldo Hall's ghostly reputation. Many believe Clara Waldo herself never left the building that bears her name. Staff working late report footsteps pacing the locked fourth floor, accompanied by the creak of doors opening and shutting on their own. Custodians have described the sensation of being watched, followed by a sudden chill sweeping through empty corridors. Shadows are often seen slipping beneath closed doors, and lights flicker even after being rewired countless times. Students who dare to wander nearby at night sometimes hear a woman's voice calling faintly from above, though no one is allowed on that floor. Paranormal investigators who visited claim to have captured whispers and unexplained knocks coming from the abandoned hallway, whether guardian or restless spirit. Clara Waldo seems to linger, keeping watch over her hall and the students who pass beneath her name. And as the halls of academia echo with her presence, Oregon's haunted journey leads us next into even darker territory. 12. O'Kane Building, Bend, built in 19 by Hugh O'Kane, an Irish immigrant and entrepreneur. The O'Kane Building was the first fireproof structure in Bend, Oregon. Designed to serve as a hub for businesses, it has housed shops, offices, and theaters for more than a century. Its brick facade and grand interior make it a proud reminder of Bend's early growth, but some say not everyone inside has left. Tenants and visitors alike have reported strange happenings within its walls. From the upper floors come the sounds of footsteps pacing, chairs scraping, and muffled voices, even when the building is empty. In the basement, where businesses once stored supplies, workers have described flickering lights and the feeling of being followed down narrow corridors. Some claim to have seen shadowy figures moving across the stage of the old theater, long after the last performance ended. Paranormal enthusiasts who have investigated the building speak of sudden drops in temperature, equipment malfunctions, and faint whispers captured on recorders. While no specific spirit has ever been identified, the restless activity suggests that echoes of Bend's early pioneers remain. The O'Kane Building stands as a monument to the city's past, but at night, its history stirs to life in unsettling ways. And Oregon's haunted trail has more secrets yet to uncover. 13. Elsinore Theater, Salem, opened in 1926. The Elsinore Theater was built in the Tudor Gothic style, inspired by Shakespeare's Hamlet. For nearly a century, it has hosted films, concerts, and stage performances, earning its place as one of Salem's cultural treasures. But behind the velvet curtains and ornate chandeliers, stories linger of spirits who never left their stage. Staff and performers have reported phantom applause, echoing through the empty hall, as if unseen patrons are still watching from the balconies. Ushers cleaning late at night hear footsteps climbing the aisles, yet find no one there. Perhaps the most chilling tales come from the restrooms, where a young boy is said to have met a tragic end decades ago. His laughter, and sometimes his cries, have been heard by theatergoers who swear they were alone. Mirrors, too, have reflected fleeting shadows that vanish when turned toward. Visitors claim seats drop suddenly, as though someone invisible has sat down, and spotlights flicker on their own during rehearsals. Paranormal groups investigating the site have recorded unexplained voices, calling names, or humming softly in the darkness. The Elsinore is more than a theater. It is a stage where both the living and the dead still play their roles. And as the curtain falls here, Oregon's next haunted chapter waits to be revealed. 14. Oregon Caves, Chateau, Cave Junction. Tucked deep within the Siskiyou Mountains, the In Oregon Caves Chateau opened in 1934. As part of the Oregon Caves National Monument, this 6-story lodge, built against a steep mountainside, welcomed travelers eager to explore the famous marble caves below. With its rustic architecture and dark forest surroundings, the chateau feels timeless, yet its history carries an unsettling shadow. The most whispered tale is that of Elizabeth, a young bride who, according to legend, leapt from a window in despair after discovering her husband's betrayal. Guests staying in the lodge have reported seeing a woman in white gliding silently through the halls, her face pale and sorrowful. Doors in her corridor are known to open and shut on their own, and sudden cold drafts sweep through rooms even on warm summer nights. Staff members have described hearing footsteps pacing above them, only to find the floor above completely empty. Some claim that Elizabeth's reflection occasionally appears in mirrors, lingering for a heartbeat longer than it should. Paranormal investigators have documented mysterious temperature drops and faint sobbing sounds captured on recorders. Today, the Oregon Caves Chateau remains a National Historic Landmark, its beauty unmatched, but beneath the charm lies a lingering presence that reminds every guest some visitors check in, but never truly leave. And with that chilling thought, Oregon's haunted journey presses onward. At 15 Liberty Theater, Astoria. The Liberty Theater opened in 1925. A grand Mediterranean revival-style cinema built to bring vaudeville silent films and later talkies to the bustling port town of Astoria. For decades, it stood as the cultural heart of the city, its golden ceilings and ornate chandeliers dazzling audiences. Yet when the crowds went home, whispers began of things unseen moving within its walls. Staff working late have often reported strange footsteps echoing across the stage and balconies. Some claim to hear faint music drifting through the air long after the instruments have gone silent. Ushers have described the unsettling sensation of being watched from the darkened upper gallery, where shadowy figures occasionally appear before vanishing into thin air. One of the most persistent tales is of a man in formal clothing, seen standing near the stage doors. Witnesses say he looks as though he belongs to another era, perhaps a performer from the theater's earliest days, yet when approached, he fades away like smoke. Paranormal investigators have captured cold spots, mysterious knocks, and even whispered voices calling from the empty seats. By day, the Liberty Theater still shines as a jewel of Astoria's history, but by night, it becomes a stage for the restless echoes of the past, and Oregon's haunted path winds ever deeper into darkness. You've now witnessed 15 more of Oregon's most haunted places. But remember, these are only the stories we know. Somewhere out there, beyond the forests and the fog, lies another legend waiting to be told. If you dare to follow us into the darkness, make sure to like, subscribe, and join us in the next chapter of our haunted journey, because the ghosts of Oregon are far from finished.